Hello, parents and students. This is Kyle Rohr. I'm the principal here at Powell Middle School. Mr. Buck and I are going to go over a brief PowerPoint and provide an overview of what to expect, some need-to-know items, procedures, protocols, expectations, and hopefully our overall goal is to answer any questions you may have as a family prior to the start of school. We'd like to invite you as a family to our open house Thursday evening, August 18th. You can see there that we've got last names carved out, about 30 minutes per. And so the reason behind that is just relieves the congestion. If we had it just wide open, likely we'd get way too many people in that sixth grade hall. And so it provides a little order. We do realize that those times may not work for everyone, so we just ask that you do your best. But we look forward to seeing everybody. We typically get a really good turnout, and so we know that those halls will be pretty packed. At that time, families will also have the opportunity to pay. There's a $25 lab fee for the laptop use, as well as load any money on lunch accounts with Mrs. Patterson or Mrs. Sanders. And so if you like to get those things out of the way early, that's also an opportunity that you can do that, as well as, at this point, you can come into the building at any point with your child and pay these fees and lunch fees. It actually gives us a little bit more time to interact with you as a family as well, as opposed to an open house we typically have. It's pretty busy, and so might be something you look forward to getting out of the way a little bit before the school starts. So thank you again for taking the time to listen to this PowerPoint. One thing that your child will get at that open house is a sixth grade t-shirt, and it's an orange t-shirt, and our PE teachers asked that the kids wear orange t-shirts coincidentally, and so these shirts have given us a lot of mileage. Most of the kids choose to wear them for their PE shirt, and so that's something that we're pretty proud of to get to the kids. It kind of gets them to be part of Powell Middle School and be proud of those colors right off the bat. And the BLT recognition, I'd just like to recognize our building leadership team, the parent group. We've worked to raise money, get some donations to provide these t-shirts free of charge to all the kids. And so we're pretty proud of that. And the kids, again, that shirt seems to get the most mileage out of probably most shirts that we ever buy our kids, and so that's something we'll get to them. Just quick introductions. Again, I'm Mr. Rohr, I'm the principal. Here in a couple slides, you'll hear from Mr. Buck. He's our assistant principal and activities director. And then at the open house, we'll have our counselors, Mrs. Winky, Mrs. Fitzgerald, and Mrs. Dillvan will be there as well. And then I'll get into the teachers here in a minute that your child will get to meet. So as I mentioned, the sixth grade team. On the left here, we have the core content teachers, and so your child will have one of the math teachers and one of the ELA, and then they'll have just a social studies teacher and a science teacher. And so we have Mrs. Simpson teaches math, Mr. Bonander, Mrs. Horton, and Mrs. Warren teach English language arts, so that'll be their lit comp. It'll be 2 periods. It's a block. Mrs. Johnston, social studies, Mrs. Hanks, science. And then we've got Miss Lovett and Miss Giltner both work with our special education students. And as far as electives go, every student has PE, and so they'll either have Miss Boer or Mr. Oram, and actually they team teach a lot, so they're working together. And then quarterly electives Mr. Buck will get into, but that's a quarter rotation of classes that the kids will have. And so they'll have Mrs. Anderson for family and consumer science, Mrs. Catlin for digital citizenship and computer science, Mrs. Hitz teaches health, Mrs. Schessler teaches music, and then as an option in place of kind of a study skills class, 8th period, students may choose to take band with Mr. Fabella.
Hello everyone, my name is Chandler Buck. I'm the assistant principal and activities director here at the middle school, as Mr. Rohr had mentioned earlier. We're going to go over a class schedule, typical class schedule of what we see our 6th grade year. First 2 periods will include their elective courses. That will be a quarterly 9-week course, including family and consumer science, digital citizenship and computer science with Mrs. Catlin in the library, health, or music. So they will be in a 9-week rotation, and they will have an opportunity to take each one of those courses throughout their 6th grade year. The coupled elective class every single day will be physical education, and students will have PE every single day through their 8th grade year. That's something we take a lot of pride in, and pretty excited to offer PE for our kids every single day, especially at the beginning of the day. Really a good incentive for kids to come to school, and certainly a good way to start the day and get that good energy out before they jump into their core content areas. As we jump into their 3rd period class, that will be in their 6th grade wing, where they'll see each one of their core content areas. That pretty much wraps up the day with the exception of their 8th period elective course, win or band. Both literature composition and math are blocked, so on your schedule you'll see that teacher of record will be blocked back to back at some point in time within the day. Lunch period for 6th grade, they get the first block, 11:05 to 11:35. They're Monday through Thursday, and then on our modified schedule, those times change there just a little bit. On the back half of those lunch periods, students get outside. They get some fresh air, able to reset, let that food settle, and they jump right back into their schedules. 8th period class, that is another elective class, and we call that an elective, where students have the opportunity to take either band this year with Mr. Fabella, and he will review band and give them that option there the 1st or 2nd week of school. The other option is WIN, which is an acronym for What I Need. Study skills, time to complete any additional work, really has been a good benefit for a lot of our students. First few days of the school year, we really emphasize that our students and teachers have an opportunity to build relationships. It's all about relationships, especially the first couple of weeks of school. But some of the content that we will review and get into is expectations for the year, outlined within our student handbooks. A lot of Q&A, a lot of time spent here where students have the opportunity to ask good questions from the teachers and get answers firsthand. Mr. Rohr and I will also visit with every single student the first 2 weeks of school in their PE classes on a Friday. So one of the first or second Friday of the school year, we also go through a lot of this information and give them some good quality tips for success. A lot of the questions students often have are what is appropriate for school, and situation like a dress code. We will review this in detail, both in the classroom and with Mr. Rohr, myself, and PE. They are outlined in detail. The expectations are outlined in detail within the student handbook. However, general consensus is nothing to distract that learning environment or social emotional environment. We're going to understand different trends come about throughout the year, each and every year. Seasons change, wardrobes change, etc. Really just an opportunity to intervene and have a conversation with our kids, whether it be a staff member, a counselor, or Mr. Rohr and myself, and we will communicate this home too. Not necessarily is there a need for discipline, but just a mutual understanding of what is expected of each one of our kids here at school. Another common question we often field are, can I bring my cell phone to school, or can I bring my cell phone into the classroom? Our policy this year is that students silence and secure their phone as soon as they come through the front door in the morning. This may be before school starts, but when students are allowed into the building, we ask them to socialize, have a genuine conversation, work on homework if there's a need, have breakfast, etc., and then secure that device until the end of the day. This does say door to door. However, at the end of the day at 3:25, we're okay with students getting on those phones and obviously using them to communicate with their parent or guardian or arrange for transportation at the end of the day. Within the day, our staff is very consistent with expectations and will have a conversation with those students if there is a first offense, whether that be a student with the phone in the classroom, out in the classroom, or in passing period, or out at recess. We'll likely hold on to those devices until the end of the day when a student can come and pick those up. I will track those frequencies. If there's a second offense, I always reach out to the parent or guardian, ask that they come and pick up the device. We may have a brief conversation at that time, and put something in place for a potential third offense, which rarely happens. 430 kids in our school, it's a rare occasion that we have to come up with an individual plan for a cell phone. Our students are very respectful, and through those prior conversations, most often understand why we have these things in place. One thing that we've implemented this year is a 25-minute class period at the beginning of every Friday morning. The purpose of that is to include every student in the building with our second step curriculum, which focuses on skills for social success, emotional success, academic support. And that is flooded with every adult in the building. We have classified and certified administrative staff in those classrooms with our kids going through that curriculum throughout the school year. That will also modify into their 7th and 8th grade year. Obviously different curriculum for different age groups. And this is a new implementation this year and something that we're excited for. We also, at the beginning of the year and through an individual basis, we preach that students self-advocate, especially on the social emotional need part. Safety. Our students are our greatest resource. Almost 100% of the time, our kids are going to know that something is occurring well before an adult knows. So their ability to reach out to a trusting adult through email or personal conversation in a timely manner is just so essential in maintaining a strong culture and safe culture and climate here in the middle school. We also have a lot of systems in place for positive reinforcement and behavior. We have great kids and we celebrate a lot. Whether that's the principal's Positive 100 board or Friday Live with Classy Cup drawing, we make this a big deal. Our kids are quick to open the door in the morning and say good morning, and we want to continue to hone those soft skills and bring them up the right way, and something we're very proud of. And we'll continue to improve to celebrate the good things in what our kids do. As I just mentioned, communication is key for our students, our guardians, our parents, our teachers. And there's a lot of different avenues that we utilize in order to get information out to you in a timely and accurate manner. Please expect IC Messenger to be buzzing your phone here toward the end of July or 1st of August regarding any activities, information, or orientation dates, etc. Monthly newsletters, expect those throughout the school year. If you haven't added us yet on our Powell Middle School Facebook page, there's a lot of valuable information on there, a lot of good photos and things to celebrate what our kids are doing here in the building. And at any point in time, whether it be here in the summer months or throughout the school year, don't hesitate to pick up that phone or shoot us an email, whether it's specific questions in the classroom for a teacher or maybe what's going on here in the building. Please reach out to our front office staff or Mr. or myself. As we all undergo this transition and having your son or daughter enter the middle school in 6th grade year, I wanted to wrap up with a few tips for success and really emphasize on a couple. The learning management system that your son or daughter will have through their high school years is Canvas. And if you're not already familiar, if you haven't had a student come through the secondary level yet, or maybe you want to be more familiar, we do have some training available, Canvas nights in September for parents and guardians, but your best resource is your son or daughter. Whether it's through your portal or through theirs, this is a one-stop shop in being able to track their academic progress. Have things consistently in place. This is a monumental time for organization, social emotional needs, soft skills development, just emotional support in general. 6th, 7th, and 8th grade years are monumental in developing young adults. And so as we blend our 3 elementary schools together this year, check in with your student. Make sure that they're doing okay with their friend groups, that they're finding personal interests, that they feel comfortable at school. If they're involved in social media in any way, be familiar with how they're interacting or who they're interacting with. What's going on. Review their social media sites with them. Ask questions. This is an ever-evolving and very concerning topic. And finally, to review those times that we have available to you on August 18th. Please reach out with any questions. We're looking forward to seeing you all that evening.